Welcome, everyone, to the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, for those of you who are first-time listeners, this is a sports podcast where you kind of have fun. We shoot the shit and we talk about sports, Grumpy. That being said, the podcast occurs every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter, Grumpy Old Man.
Isn't it like 9 o'clock TJ time and 8 o'clock TJ time?
Sure, you could go ahead and throw those cheap, easy punches, Grumpy Old Man, but yeah, it's around those time periods. Sure.
We only speak truth to the people. That's what it's about.
Oh man, we always start off right. I always say that, oh man, there's a lot to talk about in the world of sports, but Jesus, man, since our last podcast, really a lot did happen in the world of sports. I don't even know where to start, Grumpy Old Man. I mean, we could start, I think the biggest story that's kind of taken over, the sports world has been the Henry Ruggs DUI and the kill and the manslaughter there of that Tina Tintor, where he was drunk driving back home at like 3:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and he hit that vehicle and going like 150 some odd miles an hour. Grumpy Old Man. It just I feel bad there for all parties involved. I feel bad for the lady who was killed. It's just. You want to talk about having the world at your fingertips and one bad decision and bad choices like that in a matter of literally minutes. I mean, if you look at probably what happened, I mean, you probably tune into both of those individuals maybe at 3:15 in the morning, 3:30 before the crash. Everything was probably happy-go-lucky. In a matter of minutes, a life is gone and a life is altered. It's just an awful story. It's an awful situation.
Yeah. That's why you're always responsible for your choices, right? And it's usually young people. Why? Because, as you get a little bit older, you think a little bit more. I mean, the young lady who was killed, what can you say? Terrible, right? Henry Ruggs, his life is for the most part probably over for the most part. His NFL career is probably over at this point. I'm sure it'll be a vehicular manslaughter charge, something like that. I know some people are so angry. They say, well, it's a murder charge. It's not a murder charge. He didn't go out trying to kill the woman, but it's going to be vehicular manslaughter, and he'll do time for it. This is not like, there was a traffic accident and somebody died. This is, he was being reckless with alcohol and his speed, and he had a loaded weapon in his car. I mean, you got to be smarter than that. And the whole thing was the NFL has a plan in place where if, you're impaired, instead of driving home, you just call a number and they come pick you up and drive you anywhere. And they just like, what a shame. I mean, just from everything around, for Ruggs, for the young lady. I mean, just what a terrible night. Just terrible.
For Tina, yeah, I tell you. I mean, that's obviously the party you feel most for, right? I mean, that's the lady who did nothing wrong. Just who knows? Maybe she was headed to work. Maybe she was coming back home from work, ready to take her dog out to the park or something like that, walking her dog out, and he collides with him going 156 miles an hour.
Man. Yeah, I always tell my kids, I'm like, nothing, and I'm not a teetotaler. I mean, I don't drink, but I don't believe in prohibition either, but I always say, nothing good really comes of alcohol. Only bad things can happen, particularly when you're out like that. But I mean, Ruggs, he knew. I mean, they know the policy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'll tell you an instance. My son had been out drinking one time, and he called me, and I always said to him, I said, hey, anytime, I don't care where you are, what time it is. If you feel you've had too much, just call me. And it didn't matter. It was late, and I had no problem at all going out and do that. Why? Because you don't want to see him taking a chance like that. And thank goodness, he was smart enough to do that. Well, I can make it home. Yeah. And there's times I knew when I was younger that I was driving under the influence. I knew I shouldn't have been driving, but I didn't have that same support system, if you know what I mean. So, but even then I knew it was wrong and I did it anyway because I was young. Now you'd never see that, as you get a little bit older.
Yeah, and I find myself looking back on some of these, because this is one of these situations and stories. I think now I know you don't think he'll ever play again, Grumpy. I think he will play again. I don't think his NFL career is over. I think he's going to spend. I mean, like, right? They talk about the charge here on this situation. It could be anywhere from 2 to 20 years. You know, the funny thing is, we've always talked about certain privileges people get, right? We've always talked about NFL privilege. You look at
Money, people have money, athletes, yes.
exactly. It's more of a how much money do I have type of privilege. It's always been. You look at issues in the past. Now this one, I think he's definitely going to serve some time for it, no doubt about it at all. But you look at the situations NFL players have had in the past, like Leonard Little. You look at Dante Stallworth. You look at people who were impaired while driving and have killed other individuals, killed children. They've killed people. Now, Grumpy Old Man. Remember, Dante Stallworth killed that homeless man who was, out there again. Like it was a lot different of a situation than the one we have here today. But I don't think he'll be. I mean, like, I don't think he's going to get the 20-year max sentence. See, if it's you and me, I think I'm getting 20 years. If I'm driving with a loaded gun and I'm going 156 miles an hour, I'm getting max sentence. I
Well,
can probably afford the best lawyers in the world, like Henry Ruggs can. Will he play again? I don't know. I think he maybe might have a chance. I mean, like, but who knows? I just don't think he's going to get the max sentence. Where a normal, everyday folk like you and I, myself, Grumpy Old Man, or yourself, we're getting 20 years.
well, the Leonard Little one, I don't remember the Stallworth one for some reason. I don't know why I
Dante
don't remember.
Stallworth was driving impaired, and there was a homeless man who was apparently saying, "I want to die or I want to kill myself," something like that, late at night. And Dante Stallworth hit him in the middle of the road, or hit him in the road, and he wound up serving like a few months in prison.
Okay. I remember Leonard Little, and I don't believe he served any time. He was a linebacker for the St. Louis Rams at the time. And I remember there was a big issue with the parents of the person that he killed, that he served no time for something like that. It was suspended sentence or whatever, community service. And but in this instance, you say you don't think he's going to serve a whole lot of time. He's going to do time, and it's the main reason is because of the alcohol involved, the speed he was driving, and a loaded gun. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances to this. I think he will serve more than a couple of years, and I think his career is effectively over.
Yeah,
And here's the thing.
I'm looking back on a Leonard Little. He was suspended for 8 games in the 1999 season. He pled guilty for involuntary manslaughter on June of 1998. He was sentenced to 90 days in city workhouse and 4 years of probation, and ordered to perform 1,000 hours of community service.
Yeah, I think this
He was
one's
24
different.
years old. His blood alcohol level was a 0.19, nearly about twice the legal limit at that time.
Right, and that was the case with
Henry
Ruggs
Ruggs as
also.
well.
Right.
This situation, I agree, much different than Leonard Little.
Yeah, there's way more extenuating circumstances. I just don't think he's going to get off like that. I think there's going to be quite an uproar if that happens. But you know what? He's got no one to blame but himself, honestly. I mean, I wish it hadn't happened. Everyone wishes it hadn't happened, but he should pay the price. He just absolutely should. I hate to say it. I really don't have a whole lot of sympathy for that, because better. He knows better. And he had options. It's not like there's no way for me to get home tonight. I mean, he's an NFL athlete, a phone call. All he needed was a phone call, and someone could have picked him up and drove him home. Just what a shame. What a shame.
It is, and again, terrible for Tina, the lady who was killed in that accident as well. That being said, for the Raiders, man, oh man, it seems like their organization just cannot catch a break as of recent too, for the Raiders fans, right? With the John Gruden incident occurring 2-3 weeks ago, that really coming and budding into fruition. And then you've got, the Henry Ruggs issue. Now, there was a clip that Derek Carr went ahead and came out and spoke about. Now, again, he felt obviously very bad about the situation. Again, but I thought the more and more I listen to Derek Carr, the more and more I think to myself, I'm like, this he's a real nice guy. And again, he did obviously feel bad for Tina. I think he mentioned her by name as well in the interview, but this is just just a short clip. The guy seems to be a very, very team-centered guy, and he seems to be I think he's got empathy, and you don't see that a lot of times from certain individuals, and it's like a little 20-second clip I want to play for you.
Before you play this, I just want to say, I tell you what, I've learned a lot about Derek Carr as a person this year, because when everybody else was burying John Gruden, I'm sorry, he didn't condone the act, but you're right, he showed empathy towards him. And you know what? That says a lot about him as Derek Carr as a person. It really does. I mean, it makes me admire him in some aspects. He's not judgmental, and he thinks about these things. And I don't think he's a phony. I really don't.
No, I don't either. And I think you're right. He said, "I hate the sin. I don't hate the person, but I hate the sin, and I hate the act that he did." So, and I'll let you listen to this one too. And I think again, this is just a little short 23-second clip. Before here in the interview, also he talked about how he felt bad and he felt bad there for the individual who was killed in this, Tina, and he did talk about that as well. But this is just a little 23-second clip.
Haven't reached out. I will always be here for him. That won't change, and I'll prove that over the course of time to him. Not to anybody else, but he needs people to love him right now. He's probably feeling a certain type of way about himself right now, and he needs to be loved. And if no one else will do it, I'll do it.
Stand-up guy, just a stand-up guy.
And people were trying to throw him. Oh, it's great that you're trying to go ahead and send some love to Henry Ruggs, but how about the lady who died? But again, like, everybody wasn't aware that this is just a little 23-second clip that he also talked about Tina, I believe, earlier on in this interview too, and talked about the entire situation. But right.
That's what they like to do, right? They like to pick one little section of a clip and try to vilify you with it, as opposed to just putting it in context by listening to the whole thing. That's just disingenuous, and honestly, that's a coward's way of doing something. At least be, if you're going to do that, show the whole thing so that you get full context of what he said.
Oh, no. This is just a little tiny clip there, but they wanted to talk about regarding the Henry Ruggs situation. And again, for Raiders fans too, and for the Raiders, man, this is going to be, it's tough for you guys this year. Everything looked like it was going up, and then it's just like one thing after the next. As a fan who's got, you don't control what Henry Ruggs does, whether he's doing that. You don't control what John Gruden does, and you're just rooting for your team. You're just kind of like, oh man, we just can't catch a break. Alexander saying, "Good evening, guys. Hope you're doing well. It's Brocktober."
No, I think it's Brovember.
Brovember.
And for those who don't know, my buddy Croc Nelson has a hat trick today. Good for him. I was expecting the Islanders. I wasn't expecting to blow Montreal. I was expecting to beat Montreal handily, but certainly not to this level.
Tony Cheese saying it's 9 p.m. at TJ Standard Time.
Ah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. And then Alexander was saying, do you think Ruggs will ever play in the NFL again?
No. All right. I never want to say never, but let's say he serves 8 years in prison. Who's going to roll the dice on a 30-year-old wide receiver? You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. And is it worth it? Because he's certainly not going to have the skills that he had, when you get out of prison. It's just, what a terrible thing. You just hate to see the stuff like that. And it was so avoidable. It was so avoidable. It was dumb on his part. And, I don't want to throw the kid under the bus, but man, he should have been smarter there. He just should have been smarter. Here's the thing. I don't want to pile on top. I never believe on piling on top of people. But for me, man, you need to be a little bit smarter there. Shame.
You got to take personal responsibility when you do something like that. I mean, I feel bad again. Like the person we obviously feel worse for is Tina, who's been killed, done nothing wrong. I mean, that's you hear about those stories, and again, people dying and having a loved one who's died of a drunk driving incident where they were not the one who was driving drunk, or who've become paralyzed, who've had severe mental disability because they were in an accident and a drunk driver collided on them. You're always shocked to hear so many people you run across that have been negatively impacted by somebody who was drunk driving and hit a loved one or hit them as they were driving. And this is one of those situations too where it's bad all the way around.
Yeah. And they don't have people who've experienced that on the negative end. have no sympathy for him whatsoever. And I can understand that. I really can.
Yep. No, absolutely. John M said, joining late, watching the Islanders. And then John M also said, Georgia's linebacker, potential number 1 overall pick, suspended for pending rape charges. Yeah, you're talking about Adam Anderson, Grumpy Old Man. I'm not sure if you caught this. This just broke like 2 hours ago. He is being investigated for rape. Oh, man.
Just, another, just dumb. It's just so, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with this one. You know what I mean? I have no idea what happened yet. I have no idea. I mean, this just broke, Grumpy Old Man. We have no idea whether this is accurate, as if he committed any type of, rape or sexual harassment or sexual misconduct. We have no idea. If he did, that is very, very poor decision making on his side, though.
Yeah. Now you're just reading this, that I guess she woke up and found out that he was having sex with her.
Yes. That he was penetrating her while she was lying in bed.
Yeah.
Alleged rape was reported. Alleged rape there reported at 2:39 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's been suspended from the team. So
yeah, I don't know enough about anyone who ever listens, I like to get some factoids coming in before I make a snap judgment. So I'm gonna hold off on judgment here because we don't know what happened yet. I mean, was she drinking? Was she drunk? Did she pass out? She says she didn't consent. He's gonna say she did. I guarantee you that. It's gonna be a he said, she said. I just, you just gotta be smarter. You just gotta be smarter. Guys, you gotta think. You gotta think a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of those. Again, we'll be monitoring as it continues to come out. But geez, if that's true, and let's say he were to have raped her, you talk about another guy who has the world at his fingertips and just hideous and horrible decision making and trying to take advantage and do whatever he was doing there. If this story is true, completely ruining his life and the lady that he raped possibly.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
not going to rush to judgment because we have no idea what happened yet. These are just initial reports. And again, I'm glad that George is being, responsible, saying, hey, right now we're going to suspend you until we start to figure out what actually happened.
I'll bet he'll be playing by that Alabama game, though.
You think so?
Oh, my God. If there's any way to get him on the field, they will. I'm just going to say that if there's any way that he'll be playing. These schools, okay, they're like little businesses, too. They're all about the money too. I mean, they want return on their investment. It helps bring more students into the school, which generates more money for the school. If your team is a championship team, they're all like little mini businesses. I mean, it's what they are.
The money factors. Yeah, Alexander said, "Yeah, I feel so bad for the young lady there, Tina. May her soul rest and condolences for her and her family."
Yep.
That's why you don't drink like that. Dante Stallworth also killed somebody when he played. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it really is because they have money. That's the big thing. If you have a whole lot of money, you can get away, and if not totally get away, get things limited. Where if you're someone who doesn't have money, man, you're going away a long time. You're right, DJ. If it was a regular person who did something like that, you're getting the max. Imagine
if it was an average everyday Joe like you or me traveling 156 miles an hour, twice the legal limit, with a loaded handgun in my vehicle. I'm serving at least the 20 years, and I'm maybe even if I've got a squeaky clean record, maybe I'm serving 15, 17. I think he's going to get, as all people do that have immense amounts of money, they will get some sort of, again, because they could hire the best of the best lawyers and they could get the best legal team, and they're always just kind of left scratching your head saying to yourself, oh, okay. Again, I'm not going to rush to judgment on this one there too. We'll wait to see what happens. I know something is supposed to first meeting supposed to be in November or something of that nature, but man, it's one of the, we talk about this, right? We hate talking about somber items on the podcast. And this is just one of those too. Yeah. Tony Cheese said, I've been sober for the last 4.5 years and I still don't trust myself enough to have a car.
Well, you know what, Tony, he realizes he has a problem, and to him,
He realized he had a problem.
right. Well, let me tell you something. If you're an alcoholic, it's almost like if you're not drinking, you're in remission, but it could come back at any time. Same thing if you're a drug addict, same exact thing. And, kudos to Tony that he's able to identify that. And he's sharp enough to know, you know what? I don't trust myself to make a mistake yet. Good for him. Good for him.
Absolutely. Hats off there, Tony. John M said there's nothing better for a team than playing a struggling franchise to get things going right. The Habs, the Montreal Canadiens, are bad.
They're horrific. They're horrific. I mean, like I said, I haven't watched any of their games. I mean, you look at their record, how good could they be? But watching this today, I don't know how the coach and GM will not be rehired. They're both on 1-year deals. They're done. They're done.
Yeah, I was about to say the Montreal Canadiens are in serious trouble. If you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, right? I was talking to a few Canadian fans I keep in good contact with, and he said, they're coining the term "pain for Shane." Right, time to go ahead and endure some pain and be miserable this year, so we can hopefully get a chance to win the sweepstakes to get Shane right in this year's NHL draft first overall.
Pretty smart.
Alexander said, "Yeah, Mike White has been knocked out of the game." Ooh.
Well, there you go. Isn't that typical Jets, though? Isn't that typical Jets luck? You got somebody who's actually doing something, and all of a sudden, nope, going to knock him out. So they lost 2 quarterbacks in 3 weeks. Good job, Jets.
John M saying Chara still looks slow.
Yeah.
It's funny. Did you guys catch it? And we'll talk about it on Saturday. Oliver Wahlstrom had a turnover in the offensive zone. And
on a 1-on-4 break. It was him and 4 Canadians.
And everybody else on our team was in either the neutral zone or they were on our blue line. and it gets and Butch is like, oh, well, that all started with a bad turnover by Oliver Wahlstrom and the offensive zone.
You had 4 guys back.
It was 1-on-4. We had 4 guys back, and I can't remember who it was from Canadians. It looked like an Olympic sprinter zipping past a casual jogger like myself, and just was zipping right past him for a breakaway opportunity. That's how Char just looked like he had cinder blocks attached to his legs.
Char was standing still, and the guy just walked around him. It was Josh Anderson. But my bigger takeaway is you have a new number 1 goalie in town. I said it all off season. He's the best. He should be playing all the time. There's no way Varlamov should play right now. No way. He's riding Sorokin.
Yep, absolutely. Alexander also said, yeah, Carr's a good dude. And that's the kind of reputation Carr gets. I was about to say, like, you see items like that too. Like, you see some people have certain reps and certain MOs. When you see somebody, and again, Derek Carr and the entire Raiders team has had a lot of adversity and had a lot of opportunities, to be like, man, what the hell, why have you forsaken us, thrown at them? And this is a guy who I just think as an individual has come off as rosy as could be. And again, he looks like an outstanding person, individual. That's all that really matters. We're talking about the grand scope of thing, who you are as a person. And, I couldn't say highly enough things there for Derek Carr.
Yeah, total agreement.
Alexander also said, Brovember, my bad, Grumpy.
Yeah, come on, Alexander, get with it. He doesn't even know what month it is.
John P. said, yes, Mike White throws a touchdown pass to tie it up, and now he's questionable to return, hurt his wrist/hand. Josh Johnson at quarterback, Swiss cheese running defense, and a fumble later. Just like that, the Jets are down 21-7.
That's why they're the Jets. They find ways to lose.
Okay.
That happens with bad teams.
Okay. The Jets were not going to become magical and fantastic overnight, Grumpy old man. Their starting quarterback is out injured, and it takes a long time. It takes a while.
I understand. So what? It should take 50 years, 55 years for the Jets to be good? I mean, I'm sorry. It just shows you one little thing goes wrong and it just spirals out of control. That's the head coach. You should still be fighting. It should be you get a little bit of adversity and you fold up tents. I'm sorry. You can't do that. You can't be like that. There's reasons why teams like that lose year in, year out. There's reasons. I mean, it just is what it is. They cannot get the right organizational structure going there. not hiring the right GM, not hiring the right coaches. And I'm not throwing Sal under the bus
I was
here.
going to say, Salah, I think, has done a good job. They have no quit on that team.
Yeah, well, looks like they just rolled over and died after another injury, though, right?
They're down to the third string quarterback. What are you expecting?
Well, your defense shouldn't fall apart.
Hey, hold on. Their defense getting cut through like Swiss cheese. Grump, Jonathan Taylor's a hell of a running back. He's been cutting through every defense like they're Swiss cheese, though.
Okay, he's no Derrick Henry.
That's correct. He's not the best running back in the league, but sure as hell, he's a top 10 running back in the league. We can agree on that.
Okay, so no, I'm sorry. You should be able. One thing you got to be able to do is stop the run. You got to, because if you can't stop the run, you'll never be able to stop the pass. Period.
Alexander's saying, yeah, my cousin got into a bad accident while drinking and driving on Cross Island, and he was a basketball player. He had a scholarship to St. John's and ended his career.
Yeah.
And he said, and he also said, I was almost ran over when I was 8 years old by a drunk driver in Eisenhower Park. My cousin just grabbed me at the last minute and pulled me out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, just like, think about it, right? Alexander could not be here if his cousin wasn't there to help to save him. Think about that. Think about that.
Absolutely. And then John P. said, Islanders on the power play and give up a shorthanded goal. There goes the shutout. Barry, I'm sure, is unhappy.
Well, that's perfect, right? Montreal's so bad. The Islanders played so well today. But you always want to have something negative to say to your team. You don't want to say, hey, everything's great, fellas. Now you get to ride them a little bit by getting lazy and sloppy and on the power play and giving up a shorthanded goal.
Alexander also is here saying, my goodness, the fall from grace makes the cup finals, and now sticking it up on a joint man talk about a fall.
Yep. Well, what does it say about last year's team, right? It was a fluke. They caught lightning in a bottle. They got hot at the right time, and they moved to the cup finals before they got rolled, and now they're back to what they were. I mean, everybody forgets a couple of years ago, they were like third worst team in the league.
Yeah, and remember, they squeaked into the playoffs last year, too.
Last team to make the playoffs.
Yep. Mario here saying Suzuki made him look bad on that shorthanded goal. Must be talking about Zdeno Chara. Without watching it, I'm just going to take a guess. He's talking about Big Z, right?
Well, shorthanded. No, Chara's not out there on the power play. Maybe he's talking about Sorokin.
Wow, fair enough. John P. Yep, score now 21-10 Colts. Tony Cheese saying, I've been waiting for 11 years for the Jets to be somewhat relevant again. The defense is falling apart when Mike White was still in the game, though.
Yeah, like I said, they are what they are.
Alexander saying, oh, Grumpy was right on the money about Eichel. Grump, can you give me the lotto numbers? Now, this is something you were talking about. You want to talk about a big trade, a blockbuster trade happened in the NHL, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Eichel was finally moved off of that miserable Buffalo Sabres team. And, right, I want to ask what you thought about the haul because, right, yesterday, Kevin Weeks came out there and he said, oh, my sources have told me that they were offering Matthew Tkachuk, a first-round pick, an ex-first-round pick, and 2 prospects straight up for Jack Eichel. Now, in return, the actual trade today was made between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres trading away Jack Eichel and receiving back in return Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuch, a 2022 first-round pick, and a 2023 third-round pick.
Yeah, right. So you're looking at we don't know who the former first-round pick was. So, but just looking at it, let's say, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Matthew Tkachuk or Alex Tuch?
Matthew Tkachuk, no doubt about it.
It's a no-brainer.
Here's the other thing, though, too. I think Peyton Krebs is he's one of those guys who will be a successful NHLer.
You just traded a guy who was the face of your franchise, and when he was the face of Buffalo's franchise.
Was for certain.
Yeah. And he was a really good performer for them. They didn't win because they're dysfunctional up there too. I mean, let's be honest, right? They're absolutely dysfunctional. And, we don't know who the pick was for Calgary, but to me, the Calgary deal was better. Now, he's also going to have that surgery, and he talked about that today. He wanted the disc replacement as opposed to the fusion. And I cannot believe for the life of me that Buffalo let all these things happen because he wanted a certain type of surgery and they didn't want him to have that. That was just so short-sighted on their part.
Well, and think about the situation, right? people are going to say, "Oh, well, I don't think that Buffalo won this." I was still shocked. I think that you were right yesterday. You said, "I wonder if this leaked incident, this leaked trade rumor was all BS and a facade." And I
Get Vegas.
100% think it is a facade, because you thought, hey, they're leaking these. The Buffalo Sabres are leaking this report to try to get Vegas to up their offer so that they can actually have a tangible deal to make, because it didn't make sense for Calgary to make a move like this either, in my opinion.
And that's what happened. Grumstradamus strikes again. It was just so to me, it was so obvious to me. So obvious.
Grumstradamus.
I hate being right all the time, right?
I hate being right all the time. John P. said, Barry having another thing to get mad about. The Islanders just gave up a power play goal. Oh, God. I'll tell you. Never good. Never good when you're giving up a few goals there as you have a big lead and kind of losing that mental focus. But I want to ask you, Grump, out of this trade, this is a blockbuster trade. Who do you think wins? Who are the winners? Who are the losers? Or are both teams winners?
Vegas is the winner. If he comes back, he's going to be out 4 months because he's getting the surgery right away. And what did the Vegas GM said? If that's the type of surgery he wants, he's going to get that surgery. Buffalo was so dumb, too dumb. That's why you're a loser. You keep on making dumb mistakes. These aren't players from the 1950s where you could just dictate what happened and what didn't happen with them. The athletes are different today. And to let it be a surgery, like a different type of surgery, I'm just baffled. Absolutely baffled that they didn't get that done. And he had to wait until he was traded before he could have the surgery. I think this makes Vegas better if he comes. I'm sure he's going to come back healthy. I don't know how strong he'll be after 4 months, but Took is a loss. Krebs, he wasn't playing for them anyway right now. A first-round pick, who needs them? They're in win-now mode too, Vegas, right? And a third-rounder for a guy who could potentially be – he's certainly going to be their number one center. Carlson slides down to number 2, and that's the way it should be. It makes them way better, way better.
I think it adds a lot of depth for the Vegas Golden Knights when he's back and healthy. And, Peyton Krebs, he did get a few games. He did get some action when they did have their injuries and they were banged up. But I think this works out well for Buffalo, too. I don't think the offer they originally were given by Calgary, the rumor was true at all. I think you're spot on with that, Grump. And for Buffalo, right, they get Peyton Krebs, who's a guy who's a center who could be a top 6 guy, hopefully projects to be that there in the future. You get, the 2022 first-round pick. It's a deep draft. I know it's going to be a later first-round pick in this year's draft, but still, a first-rounder towards the end of tail of the draft, it's a very, very, very deep draft. And you get a 2023 third-rounder and then Alex Took.
Yeah, but that first rounder is going to be what, in the mid-20s? You know what I'm saying?
This year's draft is so deep, though, Grumpy.
Yeah, and it's also lottery protected. It's a lottery protected pick.
Well, so, I don't think they have to worry. I don't think Vegas.
Okay, I don't care how deep a draft is. If you're picking in the mid-20s, you're not getting a certified bona fide starter on your team. You're just not.
Depends. It depends who you pass up on. You could pass
if you
up
pick a guy like Simon Holmstrom. There's no guarantee he's a starter.
You could pass up on a guy like Connor McMichael, Arthur Kaliev, or even Philip Tomasino. That's what you could do. He said, Mario said, I was talking about Zdeno Chara.
Okay, I didn't watch. We weren't watching because we were on the podcast, but I'm surprised he was even on the power play.
Must have been as they were getting ready for the power play to end. They do that. John M said, I do work for USA Hockey on approving coaches' background checks. I get about 2 coaches a week wanting to continue coaching with DUI convictions. It's so crazy.
I am a believer in people getting second chances, though. If you get a conviction, it shouldn't cost your livelihood. I don't feel it should cost your livelihood.
You got to go ahead and obviously pay the price and items like that. But if it's been a significant amount of time, I do agree with you a little bit, right? I do believe in second chances a little bit there.
Yeah. And let's be honest, right?
Every situation is different, though.
Players go out after games. They drink. The coaches drink after games. It's just something that athletes do. TJ, I'm sure you know that from firsthand experience. They party after games. It's just something that people do. You make a bad judgment call. It happens. It happens.
Gotta be smarter than that in today's age. With Uber being around and it's maybe back then it was like, okay,
You always could have got a cab. What's the difference, right?
Cabs weren't always everywhere. If you live out in the sticks of Saskatchewan or you're not living in a very populated area, now you've got Ubers everywhere. So, but that being said,
I don't think guys in Saskatchewan are applying for jobs at USA Hockey.
okay, Grumpy. Well, hey, maybe they had to play a little bit in Saskatchewan, and now they're back down here. John P. said, Brock Nelson with 4 goals tonight, 6-2 final.
Leads the team in scoring now. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, I know that Oliver Wahlstrom did have 5 goals. Now, I know with Brock Nelson's 4-goal night, I'm sure he's the leader. That's right. And then Alexander saying Buffalo completely botched this trade.
Agreed. It just, to me, they mismatched. If they wanted to move him, they should have moved him last summer. They should have moved him before the draft. There were so many other things they could have done. They let it go way too far. When you let it go too far, you lose leverage. That's what happens. And they lost leverage with this kid. There was no way he was coming back. Other teams knew it. It'd be like trading McMichael for that haul. How would you feel about that? They mismanaged the asset. That's why they're a bad team.
Did you hear what happened with Odell Beckham Jr.? What's been going on with Odell Beckham Jr., Grumpy?
No.
Holy crap. Remember I always said, even when Odell was playing for the Giants, I said, I feel like there's a cancer in the locker room. Not so sure. Grump, you're on mute.
He's a me guy.
Okay. That being said, I always thought it was odd that, hey, you just, trouble seems to follow me. He seems to have issues every once in a while. Now, this all started with he was upset that he was not moved. Right now, his father and him and other Browns receivers are kind of torching Baker Mayfield on social media. So what happened was this all kind of started. Odell Beckham Jr.'s father went ahead and liked or shared a video. It's like an 11 or 10-minute long clip or YouTube video of Baker Mayfield missing wide open receivers over and over and over again, making wrong reads, doing a bad job. And so long story short, Odell Beckham Sr. goes ahead and shares this and likes it. Other Browns receivers are liking the video and liking the post and saying, you're 100% right. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, it just seems like trouble in Cleveland. Too many big egos, whatever the issue is, trouble in Cleveland. Trouble in paradise.
They're jealous because he has all the commercials and they have nothing. I can't tell you how many passes Odell Beckham Jr. has dropped or how many stupid things he's done. Should we send, so if they have no problem with this, maybe Mayfield's parents should put out a video on all the stupid crap that Odell Beckham Jr. has done over his career. And believe me, it's not flattering to him. And I bet you a lot of people will like that too. It's so ridiculous and so stupid because I bet you how many of those times you think that, well, you know what? The wide receiver ran the wrong route or they just don't know what they're doing. They're missing audibles. I mean, I bet that happens a lot. So
this is what happened. He posted this on his Instagram saying Odell Beckham Jr. is always open for the Cleveland Browns in 2021. Some random guy posted this on YouTube, and his father was over there. His father, I believe it was on Instagram, saying, "Oh, check this out. This is 100% factual." And you have other players talking and saying, giving check marks there. Oh yeah. Hey, man, this is insane. You're 100% right. Other players there are the wide receiver core agreeing here with them. Now, this might throw you for a shock, Grumpy Old Man. A few other NFLers around the league also were weighing in. Darius Slay and Chris Harris were weighing on the situation. Just watch the Odell Beckham Jr. video. Yep. And Chris Harris said, LOL, the boy is wide open.
Yeah, I'm going to say once again, these jackasses who are saying this, they don't know the system that Cleveland runs. I'm going to guarantee you he ran the wrong route because he's a total freaking me guy.
No. I'm going to let you know.
How about the times?
I'm going to let you know something. I told you this earlier on in the season. He's a trash quarterback. He's a game manager. He's not that good. And I told you this for a long time. Baker Mayfield's not that good.
Okay. Odell Beckham Jr. is a cancer. Wasn't he the guy when the Giants were in the playoffs? He was too busy on a boat wearing his work boots, sitting on top of a boat before a playoff game. Is that the type of guy you want on your team? He's not the type of guy I want on my team. You want to know why no one trades for him? Because they don't want him on the team. That's what it is. And here's the thing. That guy makes so many mental errors out there. He's a freaking bust. He made one catch his whole freaking life, and he thinks he's Oh, Odell Beckham Jr. But he thinks that Mayfield wasn't throwing to him before. Wait till this week comes up. Matty, you know what Cleveland should do? This is what Cleveland should do. You know what, Beckham Jr., sit your ass out. You're going to be a healthy scratch for the rest of the year.
If you would wait, because I know you have no freaking idea at all what's going on with the situation you're talking about. He has not been allowed to show up to the facility the last 2 days in practice.
There you go. That's the right move. The kids think he's nothing but a cancer. He's a cancer. He wanted to be traded. No one wants you. No one wants you because you got too much baggage.
No. They didn't want to trade him.
They don't want him playing either. He's Billy Baggage. That's who he is. The guy's nothing but trouble. He's been trouble everywhere he's been. He's a loser. When you look up loser in the dictionary, Odell Beckham Jr. picks up there. That's his picture.
They've excused Odell Beckham Jr. from practice on both Wednesday and Thursday. The Browns are basically suspending him with pay. Under the CBA, that's not permitted. They either have to welcome him back to the team or they have to cut him. So we're going to see something coming up soon.
I wouldn't cut him. I would not cut him. You come back to practice, you're not in this personnel group. You're now the 5th string wide receiver. We have other people who want to be part of the success of this team. Good for Stefanski. Good for him.
Stefanski blows.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take him as a coach over this moron as a wide receiver.
Hey, you know what they did? They did a funny little stat, and they looked up Stefanski as being a coach, and they looked at, let's look at his time in Minnesota. Let's look at his time when he was, a coach at other of these places. Adam Thielen's targets dropped by 39%. Stephon Diggs' targets dropped by 27%. It's just magical that Adam Stefanski, wherever he goes, he just does not have the ability to have any sort of offensive acumen at all.
He's a run-first guy. Look at how good Nick Chubb is doing.
How is the run-first guy going? How have they looked run-first so far, Grumpy? How's that panned out for him? They're a freaking mediocre team with talent out the ass. I'm sorry. He's a miserable coach.
Okay.
He's got to
make the playoffs. They made for the playoffs for the first time in 30 years last year. Tell me again how he's a failure. Just because he doesn't run the offense you want him to run.
No, he's a choke artist. He's a choke artist, Grump. They had the game in the bag against the Chiefs, and he went choked.
They never took the lead. They
had the game in the bag. They should not have lost.
Bottom line is, he's got a lot of malcontents on that team. He's got to weed them out. Odell Beckham Jr. You know what? Yeah, his thing. You're not going to be active on game day, and guess what? You're going to be the 5th. You're going to be on the scout team. You don't like it? I don't care. You're under contract here. No one wants you. We tried to trade you, but you had zero value, less than zero value. People were saying to us, the only way we trade for him is if we could cut him, and you have to eat salary because he's not worth anything. He sucks. He's a miserable player. He's a miserable excuse for a player. No use for him. Why don't he go kick a net?
Are you talking about Baker Mayfield right now? Because you could be talking about him when you talk about miserable excuse of a player. The guy's
talking about this clown right here.
Stefanski. He told, shut up and listen. Jesus Christ.
No, let me finish. No, stop putting shit up there and talking over me. I'm going to finish my point. You got this guy. What the hell is he doing with his hair? Maybe if he learned his playbook a little bit better, instead of how to dye his hair, he'd be better off.
Maybe if Baker Mayfield hit the freaking guy in stride and actually looked for him and gave him more than 2 or 3 targets a game, maybe they wouldn't be struggling so much. Maybe Baker Mayfield would throw for more than 140 yards a game.
They're a run-first team.
Get the hell out of here. 140 yards a game. I don't care if they're run-first team or not. I could throw for 140 yards a game in the NFL. Holy shit, Grump. Come on.
I've seen you throw. You could not throw for even 10 yards.
I can underhand for 150.
You couldn't throw for 10 yards in a 7-on-7 drill.
I can blindfolded, one-legged throw for 150 yards a game in the NFL the current day.
Okay, there's a reason why you're a lineman. Okay, that's why.
Here we go. Kevin Stefanski has told players that Odell Beckham Jr. is essentially not on the team right now.
Good for him. He's nothing but trouble. He's okay. If you're trying to have a team that's trying to win games, you got a jerk like this putting out tweets about your quarterback. Yeah, okay.
He wasn't. His dad did.
Yeah, okay. Oh, right. Like he didn't know what his dad was doing, and he liked it. Please. I mean, I was born on a Thursday, but it wasn't this Thursday. Give me a break.
Oh,
he knew exactly what he was doing. You know what? There's a reason why he's not a winner. He's never played for a winner. You know why? Because he's a loser. They did better when he was injured last year. Every team is better without him playing. Every team.
Has Baker Mayfield? Is he a winner? Baker Mayfield?
He got his team to the playoffs last year.
No. It's a run first team. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt got into the playoffs in that fantastic defense. Certainly not Baker Mayfield. Certainly not Baker Mayfield. He is an issue too, right? I'm saying I think Odell Beckham Jr. here, he's frustrated, right? You see this sometimes with wide receivers. They're prima donnas. They're, well, I want the ball. I want this. I want that. You're not giving me targets. I want to go somewhere else. That being said, I always believe you should handle it a little better, but I want to let you know something else. I think Baker Mayfield's a nice guy. You know what? Stop worrying about being on freaking commercials all the time and work on your freaking goddamn ability to throw the ball.
I think he probably is too nice.
Your progressions a little more.
You know what? Maybe if he was a little bit more forceful, maybe he is too nice, because you know what? Forceful quarterback would say, Beckham said, shut up. You'll catch the ball when I throw it to you. If you drop it, you're not even getting targeted by me. Shut up. You're nothing but a wide receiver. You're a waste. We can pick anybody off the street to do what you do, which is nothing. Run the wrong routes, because this guy doesn't run disciplined routes. He doesn't.
Okay, so here's the thing I'm also going to mention. You talk about the dichotomy of the team. Who the hell would figure we'd ever be talking this fervently about the the Cleveland Browns? That being said, remember Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. are tight like this, grumpy old man. Remember, they went to the same high school, I believe. They played at the same college at LSU. So I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know something. If Odell Beckham Jr. is not very happy, I'm going to go out and venture off and say Jarvis Landry is probably not too happy with Baker either. I'm going to say that there's probably some issues with both of them then in the locker room. I'm just going out on a limb. I have no idea. I'm just hypothesizing.
Bye-bye. You don't like it? Guess what? You've been a loser your whole career too. You were with Miami and they were losing. They're losers. Well, most of these wide receivers, every time they open their mouth, I want to just shut up. You know what this reminds? This reminds me of T.O. throwing his quarterback under the bus. That's why even when he could play at the end, if he lost a little bit, nobody wanted him anymore, because they're not worth the trouble. They're not worth the trouble. There's guys who can play a long time, but you know what? Eventually, front offices say, you know what? We don't want the drama with these clowns. And this guy's Beckham Jr. is just another example of that. Maybe if he could stay on the field, you know, something. Maybe he's always hurt too, always hurt. No use for him. None.
Odell Beckham Jr.'s father posted an 11-minute video on Baker Mayfield missing him when he's wide open on Instagram.
Yep.
And other Browns. Hold on. Stop. Let me read the comment before you start commenting on it, okay? And other Browns receivers liked it. The Cleveland Browns are still where they've always been, searching for a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, this is just some jerk just commenting on what the Beckham Jr. dad said. Yeah, here's another thing. You know what? I'd like to see the context, because I'm sure the dad doesn't know that his kid can't run a route. All he knows, hey, he made a one-handed catch when he played for the Giants. Remember that? That's going to – when you look at his career, what you're going to know about Odell Beckham Jr., what are you going to think about Odell Beckham Jr.? Oh, he made that great one-handed catch. That's it.
Two things. I'm going to think about that stupid decision the Giants, him and the other Giants players made before the playoff, the week before the playoffs, when they were down there partying in Miami on the boat, on the shirtless picture with the boat, a whole bunch of those players, and then the catch. Those are the two items I'll always think about with Odell Beckham Jr.
It's the catch. It's the catch. It's going to be the catch. That's it. Because it certainly won't be for winning or being a productive receiver or even having any talent. Oh, yeah, he made that one catch. He might as well just been a streety as far as I'm concerned.
You're ridiculous. You want to know what's even funnier? I've seen people talking about the Giants. I've seen people trying to espouse and come up with the idea that Eli Manning is the reason why Eli Manning made Odell Beckham Jr. And they go down the list. Look at all the receivers that Eli Manning made. You look at Darius Slayton. You look at guys like Mario Manningham. You look at guys like Odell Beckham Jr. You look at guys like Victor Cruz, and they just go down the list and say these guys were nothing before they joined the Giants and went for Eli Manning. And after Eli left, they've been nothing since. And I was like, I as much as I don't want to believe that, and I don't think it's true, I'm like, it kind of, you know, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying.
Here's the reason. The Giants are a flagship franchise in the NFL. When they do well, their guys get a disproportionate amount of fame. They just do. That's what happens when you play in a big market. If Odell Beckham Jr. played in Atlanta, we wouldn't even know who he was. We wouldn't even know who he was. He would be Russell Gage. That's right. Russell Gage. Who's he? He's a third-string wide receiver there.
I know Russell Gage's.
Yeah.
John P said, "How about Ratu's debut for Yurkit?" I'm not going to pronounce that correct. 1 goal, which was the game winner. 2 assists, 4 shots on goals. He was a +3. He was a 52.6% in faceoffs and played 18 minutes and 49 seconds ice time. I tell you, it's refreshing to see that over his performances there at Karpot, where they were using him in a bottom 6 role and letting him only play as a perimeter Pete.
I believe it's pronounced Jokerit is the place that he went to.
Jokerit, thank you.
That's not going to work for the New York Islanders. Way too much offensive productivity, way too much ice time. Young guy, no way.
So you're thinking he just needs to start putting up less numbers, and he'll be higher rated by the Islanders brass? Is that
play defense? Play defense. They should make all their forwards play defense, and then they can put him up on the forward group. Well, he's defensively responsible now.
Stephen Porter saying, calling it now. The Penguins win the cup.
You know what? He's a Steelers fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Pittsburgh fan.
I tell you what, I think he's got too much of that industrial steel smoke running through his veins. Just kind of out there, I think.
And then Alexander saying, the Panthers again refuse to lose in regulation.
They're a good team. They won't be as good as they could have been this year, losing Quinville. So I think that ends their Stanley Cup chances, honestly.
Fair enough. Alexander saying, Odell Beckham Jr. is such a freaking clown. You need your dad to step up or to step in. What a dumbass.
You know, we call guys like that bitches. That's what he is. He's a little bitch.
Oh man, oh man.
I have no use for him. He's a loser. He is like I said, he's the poster child for being a loser.
I'm telling you one thing, this could be the beginning of the end of that Browns. It could be the beginning of the end for Stefanski, because guess what? Again, as I've mentioned, Jarvis Landry and him are like this. You lose Odell Beckham Jr., you lose Jarvis Landry, you already have injuries out the ass, and now voluntarily you're going to lose 2 of your wide receivers because Baker Mayfield can't go ahead and spread the ball around. Baker Mayfield can't get the job done.
I'm going to tell you what. Has there ever been a case where the wide receiver runs the locker room, where the people follow the wide receiver? I'm going to say no, because wide receivers are always, and I mean freaking always, their number one fan is themselves. They could care less about team success. It's about individual. You look at all those wide receivers. I don't think the team ever dances to the drum of a wide receiver. They're a necessary evil as far as I'm concerned. But you know what? You can just unload these pieces of garbage. Who cares? Somebody would love the opportunity to take a shot at the number 2 spot on that team, or number 1 spot.
Okay. I'm going to let you know something. I'm not so sure, Grumpy. I'm just saying.
Would you? Let me ask. I'm going to ask you.
Here's the thing. This is what I'm saying, right? Team cohesion and how your team's working together is important. And you've got Odell Beckham. Listen, you've got Odell Beckham Jr. pulling this way. I could promise you, Jarvis Landry, his high school friend, his college friend and college roommate, and now his professional, the team they play on the same exact professional team, are probably pulling in the same direction. I'm just throwing that one out there. And when you have other wide receivers liking the video and commenting on the video that Odell Beckham Sr.'s dad posts about Baker Mayfield missing, it's 11 minutes of this year, Baker Mayfield missing wide open wide receivers, reading the wrong route, throwing picks, throwing incomplete passes into the dirt when you got guys wide open, and you have other receivers on your team liking that video and commenting on it. Yikes. I'm just to let you know something. It's not just an Odell Beckham Jr. problem. I'm gonna let you know something. It's probably the majority of the wideouts are thinking the same exact thing about Baker Mayfield. It's not just a one isolated person problem. I'm
going to bet you Jarvis Landry was the only guy who liked that comment, because it says other wide receivers, but they don't mention who, because this way they can try to push a narrative. But do you think any offensive lineman is going, yeah, man, I agree with you, Odell Beckham Jr.? No, they're not. They're going, this guy's an asshole. There's no reason he shouldn't be on this team. He's a failure. He's bringing us down with his negativity. Me, Odell Beckham Jr. Me, Jarvis Landry. How many passes did they drop? I'll bet you didn't put on a video of them dropping passes right in their hands, because they do that shit all the time. Jarvis Landry in particular. I've never seen a guy drop as many passes right in his freaking hands. That cost them games last year. He's another loser. I could see the two of them together, the two loser brothers. Who wants you? Nobody. No one wants you. If they could have moved you, they would have, because you're a team cancer. But nobody wanted. He wanted to play for Tom Brady. Tom Brady said, "Screw you. You're a piece of shit dust. I got other guys here who are way better than you. Way better."
Is that exactly what you think he was? Tom Brady, they call it
Tyler Johnson. He probably goes, "I'd rather have Tyler Johnson's brother than I'd have you. I'd rather be throwing to Aaron Hernandez, who's dead, before I throw to you."
Is that really what you think it is, Grumpy?
I think that's what he said.
Oh, that's cute, Grumpy. Oh, that's
Here's the thing. The guy's a loser. He's a loser. He was a loser with the Giants. He's a loser with the Browns. He's a loser.
Hey, all I'm going to say is this. I'm just talking about for the team success. They're not in a good spot right now. I'm not sure what they're going to have to do to make sure they're in a good spot, because in reality, right, all they care about is winning football games. When you're struggling, I think these items get exacerbated a little bit as well. Now, this is what Baker Mayfield, again, I don't dislike Baker Mayfield as a person. I don't. I like how he's handled the situation. To be quite frank, I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a game manager. He's an average QB or below average quarterback. And they asked Baker Mayfield, "Are you hurt?" He said, "No." He said, "Are you surprised?" He said, "Yes," regarding the Odell Beckham Jr. situation.
You know what he should have said? "I don't throw to Odell Beckham Jr. because whenever I do, he drops the ball right in his freaking hands. We can't have that in this offense. I'd rather throw it in the dirt than be frustrated having him drop another ball out there or have him run the wrong route." Because here's the thing. He's not smart enough to run the right routes. That's what he should have said. He's too dumb to play on this team. He's a moron. Why don't you go why don't you go beat up a kicking net? Why don't you go get into a fight with Josh Norman? Why don't you do something stupid like that to hurt your team? He's a loser. He's a me guy and a loser. He's a typical diva wide receiver. That's why people hate them, including me.
You don't like diva wideouts?
Absolutely not. They're losers. They're unnecessary.
Hey, you know what? I love talent and I'm willing to put up. Hey, but again, if you're a diva wideout, you have to be putting up production. And guess what? He can't put up production because Baker Mayfield won't throw him the ball.
He won't throw him the ball because he's a jerk. Sorry.
Who cares if he's a jerk? Throw the damn guy the ball.
I've been getting on Mike Evans, right? For being soft. I'd take 100 Mike Evanses over this guy because Mike Evans is a way better person. Let me
ask you this. Let's take the clock forward 1 week. Let's say they cut Odell Beckham Jr. And let's say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because remember, Odell Beckham Jr. and Tom Brady, believe it or not, no matter what you say, they've got a good relationship. They always talk about it and how he's got such a great relationship with Bill Belichick. They're great friends, all that good stuff. What happens, Grumpy? Because I know you're a big Tom Brady fan. What happens if he joins the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What are you going to do, Grumpy?
They don't need him. How's he going to play there? They're loaded at wide receiver. They don't need him. They don't need a guy who could drop the ball. They already got one of those. They don't need another one. They don't need a guy who's out there showing off all the time. They don't need that.
Oh, man. Oh, fair enough. John,
why would you want to bring a known loser into your locker room?
Here's the thing. I don't think you blow it way out of proportion. I think he's better than you're giving him credit for. That's all I'm going to say. Is
Really?
Odell Beckham Jr. Here's the thing. Is Odell Beckham Jr. an elite wide receiver? No, he's not. I think he's a serviceable good guy, and I think he's a good number 3 wideout. I think when he's not getting the ball, and I'm going to let you know something. You're going to see the Browns struggle coming up. I could care less about the team's struggles. You're going to see the Browns struggling, my friend.
Here's the thing. So you're worrying about what a third string wide receiver says? That's why he's a problem.
You know what else is a third? You know what else is a third string wide receiver? Antonio Brown on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a third wideout.
Let me give Antonio Brown credit. Since he's gotten into his little kerfluffle, he's kept his nose clean here. You don't see him posting videos when he doesn't have any catches in a week. You don't see him doing that. You don't see him doing that.
He wasn't posting the video. His dad posted the video.
Yeah, okay. No, he did it. He cut it up.
Semantics right.
Yeah, he probably got the coach's film. Yeah, look at this. Look at the all 11 films, the all 22. How'd you get that Odell Beckham dad's job? Oh, well, I'm just really smart. I look at the TV.
No, Grumpy. It was a random thing. It was some guy, random YouTuber who had 150 some odd subs who just posted, look at all these times Baker Mayfield's missing a wide open Odell Beckham Jr. Had like 1,000 views, and must have been sent to his dad. He must have seen it, whatever it was. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and repost that. Do you think that Odell Beckham Jr. took control of his dad's Twitter or his Instagram account to post that video?
I think that if he has a relationship with his dad, his dad said to him, hey, look at this. Oh yeah, Dad, post that. I like it. What should he have told his dad? Should he have ever liked that? Should he ever have liked that?
I don't know if he liked it.
He's a dumbass. He knew what his dad was doing.
All I'm going to say is this. They are in some turmoil in the locker room. I assume that the locker room is not so cheery in Cleveland, and it doesn't help that they're not winning football games. That's all I'm going to say on that one. We've talked a lot about the Cleveland Browns, Grump. We got other things to carry on.
Okay, just one final thing.
I'll let you finish the last point, and we'll get to the comments about the Cleveland Browns.
Who do you think the locker room is behind?
Depends.
They're not behind the wide.
Here's the thing. Jarvis Landry is also a captain on that team.
Who cares? He's another loser. You want to know why Cleveland lose? They have losers at those positions. They're losers. Losers lose. Next subject.
Your oversimplification of that is funny at best. John P said Colts 28-10 at halftime. Jets defense didn't show up tonight.
The Jets, typical Jets.
Stephen Porter said, do you agree that vets have to go through the waiver wire?
Yes. Of course.
Alex, go ahead, go. I'll let you finish that.
Stephen, I don't know what his problem is, this guy. I don't think he knows anything about sports at all.
Alexander's saying, I love this Grump and TJ going at each other's throats. Round one fight. A Mortal Kombat voice. Finish him. Mortal Kombat. You know what Mortal Kombat is, Grumpy?
It's a video game. It's just shameless how you always take the player side, even a loser like Beckham Jr.
I don't take the player side. I think both are at fault. The crazy thing is I think both are at fault, Grumpy. I'm the fence rider.
The quarterback did nothing wrong. You know
what the quarterback did wrong? He freaking sucks. That's what he did wrong. He's not distributing the ball well. He's not running through his progressions. He's consistently missing wide open wide receivers. You can say, oh, they're running the wrong routes. I'm going to let you know something. Baker Mayfield is consistently looking at the wrong areas, looking for the defensive coverage as well. He's consistently making bad reads.
I'm going that the quarterback knows the offense better than the stupid wide receivers. That I'm going to go with.
I'm going that probably the quarterback is also zooming in and just staring down one wide out as well, not running through his progressions.
But you don't see him tweeting things to promote division within the team.
That's correct. I don't think that's a good decision. He didn't tweet it. His dad did. I don't think.
Okay, please. They're the one and the same. And they one and the same.
I don't think it's a good idea that he did that, right? That's why I think both parties are at fault here.
And then you got Jarvis Landry because he's the only one who liked it. The wide receiver, he's the one, right? Because he's
other wide out. I don't know if Jarvis Landry I don't know. I don't follow Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad on Instagram, believe it or not.
Yeah, like I said,
I don't know who liked it. It said other Browns wide receivers. I don't know if they're practice squad wide receivers. They're Jarvis Landry. To be honest with you, I can give two flying shits about which Cleveland Browns wide receivers like to post by a Cleveland Brown wide receiver's dad. I could care less about that. I'm just saying that other wide receivers on the team liked it. That's usually not good. I think there's some division in the locker room.
Here's the problem. It's not division in the locker room. Junior is pissed off because he's not getting the ball enough. I should be out there showing off my skills. He's not getting the ball enough. That's what this whole thing is about. He's not getting the ball enough to say, look at me. I'm Odell Beckham Jr. I made one catch once. Remember me? That's what the whole thing's about. He's not making enough catches anymore.
Alexander's saying, I sent you some fan fights. I have a fan fight, Grumpy, that is a recent one that we get to see the start to finish. It is a fantastic one. So you get to see what starts the fight. There's no pontificating on what starts the fight, and we get to see what ends the fight. So I love it. We're going to have one where it's like, you know how they talk about certain jobs, like I get, the feeling of like, oh, I started it and I got to watch it be completed. That is what we have in a fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Alexander also said, remember Grumpy Landry was a captain in Miami.
That's why Miami was losing, Alexander. I hate to tell you, you can't put a loser as a captain. That's why your teams lose.
John P. said, best team currently in the NHL? Obviously, the Carolina Hurricanes.
They're good. They're really good.
I'm gonna be eating crow all season long on that one. That's for certain.
John, they were good.
John M said, Grumpy, I'm with you 100% on Odell Beckham Jr. and include Jarvis Landry in the loser squad. Coming from a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know how a wide receiver ever gets to be team captain. They have nothing to do with the team. Nothing. Nothing.
On.
They're just, I mean, think about it. They don't block. They don't tackle. A lot of them, they don't fight for the ball. It's the wide receiver is the most diva position in sports.
That and corner.
Yeah. The two guys that do the least hitting, the least amount of hitting, those two positions, right? The least amount of hitting is there.
Well, they talk the most is because they've got enough energy and breath to jaw. Quarterbacks usually are so worried about, hey, I've been playing like trash, or hey, I need to make sure we keep the offense going. They're not thinking about anything else. Alexander is saying, Grump's on a new level tonight. Maybe Odell Beckham Jr. should find a field goal net and ask him to marry him again.
What a loser. What a loser.
Tony Chi said, I'm pretty sure it's I couldn't care less. I always mess it up. I couldn't care less about the team's struggles.
That's it. Hey, we are going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, though, right?
Yes, he's on the list, but we were
Absolutely.
talking about the Cleveland Browns for 40.
Talk about another loser, Aaron Rodgers.
We'll get to it. Hold your horses, Grump. Grant H of Islanders United. He streams the Islanders games, grumpy old man. He said, what's up? Eichel to Vegas. Not too pleased, honestly. I feel like Vegas, ever since entering the league, has gotten so many good players. The fans don't know what a rebuild is. They're spoiled.
Look at the players they acquire when they trade for them, in contrast to the Islanders. Mark Stone. Who was the guy from Montreal? Max Pacioretty. Jack Eichel. Look who we get. Palmieri.
Remember, they've made some bad ones. They traded for Thomas Tatar. They gave him a first-round pick at the trade deadline for Thomas Tatar as well.
Okay, so it works out, what, 90% of the time for them? And they get the better end of the deal? That's the way you do it. I mean, good. They're smartly run. They're really smartly run. And they're not afraid to go for it. You know what? Are we talking about Boychuk, or are we saving that for Saturday? We can say that for Saturday.
Grump, yeah, we'll say that for Saturday. It's an Islanders.
And I'm ready to go on that too. I'm loaded today.
We've got
ready to go.
We've got Aaron Rodgers still to talk about. Alexander said, I'll tell you what, Landry plays his heart out, but his attitude drove him out of Miami.
Loser. He's a loser. That's why. If he's getting all the balls, they're happy. That's how you can tell a wide receiver's happy. They're catching a whole bunch of passes. They're happy. They don't catch it, all of a sudden they got a problem. It's not a mistake. They're me guys. Every single one of them. Me guys.
Stephen Porter said, Grumpy is a disgruntled football fan that seems lost because the only team he cheers for is a team that's winning most of the time, the most at the present time.
Oh, see, that's an unfair characterization of me. In football, I am a Tom Brady fan. I make no bones about it. So I'm rooting for Tom Brady over anyone else. But, back in the day, Giants fan, longtime Giants fan, Jets fan, Raiders fan, because of the uniforms. They were even my dad had season tickets at Jet games when Namath was quarterbacking, but I always loved the Raiders because I loved the silver and black. Darryl Lamonica was my favorite quarterback as a kid growing up, then Stabler. And, of course, who didn't love Joe Namath growing up? But, yeah, you know who I didn't like? I didn't like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I will say, I know Stephen Porter's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Look at that lion looks menacing. Looks like a menacing lion right there, Grump.
That's probably the antithesis of what Stephen Porter is.
Yeah, lion. Alexander said, John, one thing is Landry always drove that offense. He ignited the offense, but he was no way worth the money Cleveland gave him.
He was just the receiver. The quarterback drives the offense. He's just a receiver. Just a receiver. And as soon as things don't go his way, they cry.
Grumpy, you'll like this one. I know you don't see any of these things on the internet, Grump. But do you remember Marv from Home Alone?
I saw this today. I saw this. Bleacher Report had something on this.
I was about to say, where the hell did you see this, Grumpy? Thank you,
Alexander,
for sending this.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. He's cleaned up. He doesn't look like that anymore, Eichel. He must have seen this meme from a long time ago and said, you know what? I can't look like that anymore.
He was like, holy shit, I actually kind of do look a little bit like Marv from Home Alone. I need to change up my style a little bit. I can't be compared to Marv from Home Alone from the 90s.
He shaved and he got his hair. He actually got a haircut. I don't know what he looks like, a little Q-tip, a dirty Q-tip there. That's what he looks like to me. Got some dirty years going on over there.
Oh man, oh man. Oh, Grumpy, that's funny. Now, do you want to cover the Aaron Rodgers situation and then the fan fight, or fan fight then Aaron Rodgers? Grump, I'm giving you the chance here to make a decision.
I want to do I'm still angry over Odell Beckham Jr. So let's go right to Aaron Rodgers, another loser.
Oh my God. John P said the Packers, Aaron Rodgers will not be suspended. Oh my goodness gracious.
Like I said,
so,
if you are
let's cover the situation first, but thanks John P for sending that to us. Now this was the situation. He said that he was vaccinated beforehand. And I'll pull up the clip that everybody keeps referring to here, Grumpy Old Man, because he was asked on August 26th of this year if he was vaccinated for the season. And this is his response. I'll let you watch it. Just a little clip, 5-seconder.
Are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccinations?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
Yeah, I've been immunized.
He didn't say what though. That's how how you have plausible deniability. Well, yeah, I got like a polio shot when I was a kid, or I got a flu shot. They didn't ask if he was vaccinated for COVID.
Well, here's the thing, right? Ian Rappaport treated this out, Grumpy Old Man. And it's funny, right? He says, yeah, I've been immunized. Never really clarified exactly what it was. Aaron Rodgers received homeopathic treatment from his personal doctor to raise his antibody levels and asked the NFL to review his status. The NFL and the NFLPA and joint doctors ruled him as unvaccinated. Now he has COVID-19.
He's a loser. He's a loser. Okay.
And again, not because he said, hey, I'm not going to take the vaccine or whatever like that. It's a clear choice. That being said, the way he went about this is just bizarre.
Here's the thing. He saw the heat that Kirk Cousins took when he said he wasn't going to be vaccinated.
And Newton, Kyrie Irving, all those athletes.
That's right. They took heat. But you know what? He shouldn't have lied about it. He should have been a man and just said, you know what? I don't believe in getting vaccinated. And you know what? I have no problem with that because it's a personal choice. But to lie about it and then now not get suspended for that? What did they do last year? You were like suspended for 4 weeks if you lied about that. It just shows you he's Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the faces of the league. There's no way he's getting suspended. That's what it says to me. So he's going to miss this week's game and potentially next week's game as well. I don't think he's even eligible to come back in the building until Saturday. So do you think he's going to quarterback after not having practice for 2 weeks? I don't know. I hope Jordan Love lights it up. This guy's a loser. He's another loser. For all that talent that he has, he doesn't win anything. He's a loser. And you know what? You remember I was commenting on his silly little haircut he's had all year, this stupid looking little man bun or whatever the heck he's got going on there. The stringy hair doesn't look like he washes his hair at all. You know what I heard today? He's engaged to that actress, Shailene Woodley. She was in the movie The Descendants. And, I heard some things about her. She's one of these people who doesn't believe like in deodorant or soap. She eats clay. She washes herself with dirt.
Stop.
This is true. This is all true.
No.
I don't know if she washes herself with dirt, but she doesn't believe in soap. And Miles Teller, who's also an actor and did a movie with her, said the kissing scenes with her were really bad because her breath was hideous because she eats clay. And then, a lady said, they try to dress them up, for the movies, and the people don't want the costumes back because they smell. This girl needs to take a shower. Now it makes sense why Aaron Rodgers looks like he's a bum on the damn street corner too, because he's hanging out with this wacko who doesn't believe in soap. And what does he smell like after a game? That's what I want to know. He must smell like shit too.
I know. Okay. I know you go over the top. Are you being serious with this?
I am being serious about the Woolly girl. Yes. True.
She doesn't use like deodorant.
Soap.
She doesn't bathe. She doesn't use soap.
Yes. She eats clay. She believes in all these homeopathic treatments for everything. She wears some type of smelly thing around her, and people say it's horrible to be around her, and that they won't take the costumes back. like when they go out to get dressed up for events, it's not like they go out and buy these dresses. People give them to them. They say, oh, this is by Giorgio Armani or whatever. And they wear these dresses. And they don't want the dresses back after she wears them because they smell so bad. The girl needs a shower.
Aaron Rodgers, how the hell maybe Aaron Rodgers wants to look slimy and smelly because maybe his own odor would combat the bad odor of his fiance?
No, it's because he does what the woman in his life says. She's like, hey, I know you like soap, but if you want to be with me, you got to stink just like I do. Like some billy goat out in the backyard.
Oh, my God.
Maybe that's why she doesn't get any more acting jobs, because you smell. Hey,
this is according to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports. He said that the NFL has opened up an investigation to see whether Rodgers and the Packers have broken any of the league's COVID-19 rules. However, even if there has been any COVID violations, Glazer noted that there will be fines, but that Aaron Rodgers will not be suspended for this. It's funny. It's really, really, really funny. It all depends on who you are. Think about, and again, what sport you play. Think about the NHL. And again, Evander Kane tried to go ahead and falsify a COVID-19 vaccination. So maybe, Aaron Rodgers is being so much more litigious about this, saying, oh, no, I've been immunized. So he was, leaving himself, just like as you mentioned, some plausible deniability on this. And, I guess they say, oh, because Evander Kane took the action. Evander Kane was suspended, 20 some odd games for this action. I know he had the investigation on gambling that was, they found nothing in the NHL. That being said, it's funny, though. Rodgers will face no suspension for this at all.
I'm not surprised, because what does the NFL really care about? Yes, I'm going to hit that button again. Money. Aaron Rodgers puts butts in the seats. They know that they don't want him potentially, or Green Bay potentially, losing games because he's suspended, because he's a draw come playoff time, and they want TV ratings. That's what it's all about. It's about money. That's why I find it laughable how they just crucifying John Gruden, and they let off the Washington football team. They let off Green Bay. They pick and choose who they go after. That's why I just find them being disingenuous. The rules are not the same for everyone in that league.
Oh, my God. Grumpy, you're not lying about this. Alexander just sent me the screenshot. Shailene Woody. The actor does like to consume clay on a regular basis and swears by its health basis or health benefits. Clay is one of the best things you can put into your body. Woodley shared
That's why she smells like shit.
One of my friends was making a clay toothpaste that you swallow instead of spit out. Holy shit.
Yeah, like I said, she's freaking whack. What's he doing with her? I mean, think about all the failed relationships he's had, and this is the one that you're, putting your stake in. Is this one? Why? Because they use soap? And he looks like a freaking bum.
Yeah, he does not look good, but I'm baffled by that. Oh, man.
At these events, they probably want to turn the fire hoses on her, like they did to Rambo in the first movie. They just shoot her down, man. She smells. Clean her up. Burn the dress. The dress is unwatchable. Just give her, you know what? Here you go. Go to some homeless shelter. Pick whatever you want out of the bin. That's what you should go to these events in, because we got to burn the clothes anyway. She smells.
Twitter turned. Yeah, here it is. Twitter turned on Shailene Woodley after the Aaron Rodgers COVID controversy.
Because they know it's her. They know it's her. Who the hell brushes their teeth with freaking clay? Who brushes their teeth with clay? With dirt? Like I told you, she's like an elephant. How do they get clean? They roll around the freaking dirt. That's what they do. Except she doesn't have a trunk to shoot water on herself. That's the only difference.
Thank you for coming, Internet. You know that
I apologize. And yeah, John P., thanks for sending that there to us. I just looked at the article. Man, oh man, I tell you, it is odd. The entire situation is odd. And again, right, I think Aaron Rodgers is a guy who doesn't like to be criticized at all, ever, right? Doesn't ever like any type of criticism. So I wonder if when he saw all these other individuals who were saying, I'm not getting vaccinated, he said, I'm going to find a way to skirt any type of, possible heat I could take. And I'm going to say that I've been immunized instead. He thought up a lie, or he thought up a way out, and he thought it up quick.
He's not a tool bag. He's a tool chest, that guy. Okay?
Oh man.
What a nitwit, honestly. What a loser. Another loser. And here's the thing. They'll go far in the playoffs, but they won't win. Because he's the quarterback. He's a loser.
Jeez Louise. Well, Grumpy, it's time for a fan favorite segment. Yeah. Grump. Oh, Alexander says she washes her hair once a month. Ooh, yikes.
I don't think she uses shampoo, though. She uses just like, I don't know what she uses, dirt.
So this is a fan favorite segment. Grumpy.
I just
recent on October 20th. Go ahead.
Just one thing. Miles Teller, not an attractive guy. Okay? Not an attractive guy. The Woolly girl is way out of his league. You think he'd love to kiss her on camera. For him to say, yeah, man, that was tough because her breath was brutal. I mean, brutal.
Do you not think like as an actor, you'd be like, bro, you got to put some mouthwash in there. Please brush your teeth.
Yeah, do something.
Like, no, I don't put mouthwash in my mouth.
I know you like to live out in the woods or whatever it is you do and brush your teeth with clay and eat shit. I don't know what it is you do, but guess what? If I got to kiss you, better clean your shit up. Because you're if I puke on your mouth, it probably won't make a difference to you because, I mean, smell your breath. What's the difference, right? There is no difference. So if I hurl on you, it should not be a problem because you imagine you're and puke right down her throat. She probably just go, next take.
Because throw up has good health benefits, right, Crump?
That's right. Oh, wait, hold on. Was there a hot dog in there? I don't eat that. I only eat clay and dirt and grass.
So this is a Chicago Bears fan and Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Now here,
Jaguars. There's no such word as Jaguar. There's no
Jaguars. I said Jaguars, Grumpy.
You said Jaguar is what you said.
Get the hell off my case, you grumpy old man.
Learn how to pronounce a word.
Get off my case, Grumpy. So you got Jacksonville fans and then Chicago Bear fans. Now, this is one of the rare cases when we have a fan fight, the fan fight segment. This is one of those where we get to see what started the fan fight and what ended the fan fight. Okay. So we get it in a very, very quick time period. Now, the only thing more criminal is the person who's filming this and not filming in landscape mode. That is pretty criminal. I mean, come on. Always turn it to the side so it's better for video quality, buddy.
Okay. I do have a question, though. This looks like, is this before the game?
I think this is before the game.
Because, I mean, and it doesn't seem like there's any alcohol involved.
You'll see. I didn't think there was much alcohol involved either, so we'll break it down. It's 30 seconds. We get to see from start to finish in 30 seconds. So I'll let you listen to this, Grumpy. Make sure I got the volume up.
He's wearing his jacket.
You got a Jaguar shirt on. What are you talking about, Chicago? Go fuck yourself.
Oh, I forgot to mention, if there's children around, please go ahead and escort them out because there are some F-bombs thrown in this one. So if you do have children around, I do suggest that you go ahead and maybe go ahead and turn the volume off for this next segment. You can watch the fight, but just know that there are some potty mouth words thrown around.
Go fuck yourself, Jaguar! Go fuck yourself, Jaguar!
I'm actually going to join this guy. Fuck you, Jaguar fan, little bitch.
Jaguar!
so
okay.
This guy, the guy in the Bears in the Matt Forte jersey, he looks like he's hammered just based off of how he's trying to, talk shit to everybody around him. And this guy, the other fan who's videotaping this, is giving the other guy more confidence and courage by saying, "Yeah, I'm joining with you. Yeah, fuck this guy F this guy from Jacksonville."
I just like how all these Bears fans all kind of look the same body type. He's wearing his Jim McMahon headband from back in the day. Maybe that is Jim McMahon. It kind of looks like him a little bit nowadays. Bald with a little, the little goatee thing going on, wearing the Forte jersey. I mean, gosh, when was the last time Matt Forte played there?
Or wearing Nika jerseys and Buckus jerseys here in the background.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so
and one other thing. This guy's, he said Jaguar as well. So he's a dipshit right from the top.
Jesus. Good gracious.
I'm actually going to join this guy. Fuck you, Jaguar fan, little bitch.
And look at the lady. She's laughing. I mean, you catch her face. She's like, can you believe that we're getting heckled by these two guys? She's just laughing at it.
This is what she's saying. What the hell is wrong with you? Don't egg this guy on, you dumb. I mean, I'm with you. You want to do something stupid, make sure I'm not here.
I was about to say, this is one of the rare situations where the lady, not intoxicated, wants to avoid the confrontation. She's like, can you believe these nuts, these damn Chicago fans that are nuts as hell, trying to go ahead and pick a fight with us Jacksonville fans? So we're going to continue here with the clip, though, Grump.
Yeah, fuck you, man. Yeah, no, I'll draw shit.
Yourself,
Go
you
fuck
get
yourself.
fucking prick. You get down, go fuck yourself. You get down, prick. You get down. Oh.
So he throws the first punch. Are you down? You want to fight? You want to fight? He's got his ego is flying on a whole different level because he's got the other guy egging him on, and he's just talking shit. He's waiting for somebody to go ahead and do something. This guy from Jacksonville, he's had enough. He said, our Jags are hideous. I'm willing to fight about something. Yes. Are you ready to go? So this one, go ahead.
He was laughing at him when he come up, and the guy threw a punch at him. I mean, Mr. Bear is wrong. Billy Bear is wrong.
Yes.
Go fuck yourself. You get down, fucking prick. You get down, go fuck yourself. You get down, little prick. You get down. Oh.
Now it's too much. All right, they knocked the guy down. Fight's over.
They knocked him down. They got a few kicks in on the head, but it was pretty quick. Hey, you hear the whistle. Hey, come on, cut it out there. But good gracious. So you always wonder what, I mean, this is probably the fight that makes the most sense. You got this Bear fan who's intoxicated trying to pick on the Jags fans, and Jags fans didn't like it after they threw a punch and knocked the other guy out or knocked the other guy down. And Mr. Bears goes ahead and takes a few punches and a few blows.
You know what? Here's what they have to. They're in enemy territory. People who didn't see the beginning, they should all jump them and beat the hell out of the Jacksonville fans just for them being from Jacksonville, or just even for having the balls to wear those Jacksonville jerseys.
No, that's only in Philly. You only have to worry about that for Philly fans, the crazy Philly fans. If you're wearing an opposing jersey, that alone is grounds to get your ass pummeled. But in Chicago, it's not as bad, I figure. But these Jacksonville fans got the better of it.
Is that it?
No, that's the end of the fight, Grumpy.
Oh, okay.
That was it. It was just a 30-second long
okay.
Grumpy. It was a quick one.
Okay. All right.
What's wrong, Grumpy?
I like longer fights, mostly where I see beer. That was so quick. I like to have more of a play-by-play. That's like a one-round knockout. Bang, bang, bang.
I was going to say it's a quick one. Alexander sent us some ones that we've got for next week. But hey, that was a quick one.
Alexander's great. He comes up with the greatest stuff.
For certain he does, Grump. For certain he does, and we love him for it. We've got that, Grump. We covered a lot today. That being said, Grumpy, what else you have to say? Oh, I want to mention a few soccer items. You hear Jadon Sancho was left out.
No one even knows who Jadon Sancho is.
The,
no one who listens to this podcast knows who Jadon Sancho is. As soon as you say soccer, you know what that does to the viewership? Click. Show must be over. Click.
The show must be over. Is that what it is, Grumpy?
Pretty much. They don't want to hear it. They don't know Jadon Sancho. Maybe they've heard of Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. That's about it. That's about it. You want to bring up some obscure guy from Man United who doesn't even play for them and isn't called up to the national team. Who cares? He's not a big enough name to even talk about.
Okay, Grumpy. Well, we'll cut this podcast then. Done. Fair enough. Oh, Hodaz says soccer or football?
Soccer.
Ah, there it is. Well, Grump, if we're going to cut it off there, Grumpy, and let me
if you
ask.
want to talk about soccer, talk about how Cristiano Ronaldo saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's neck again this week with 2 goals in Champions League. That's what you can say.
He did. He did save it.
I know who Jadon Sancho is. You do, but most of the people who listen to this podcast do not. Why don't you tell them about Burnley? Why don't you do that? No one cares about them either.
I would if people would listen. Alexander said Bears fan versus the Jags. Oh,
that's right.
There it is. There it is.
Matty and the Jags. Matt Forte against the Jags. There you go.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Full circle.
Let me ask you this, Grump. What do you have to say before we wrap things up?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. We're going to be back Saturday.
No.
The Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Right after the game-ish. See, that TJ can get away with that being late there because, the game has just ended. And blah, 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 blah. But after the game-ish, and then Sunday, once again, the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show at 8 o'clock TJ Standard Time.
8 o'clock. Thanks for that, Tony Cheese. I like TJ Standard Time. I'm going to start throwing that on the back of every single one of our podcasts. We're going to be on at 8 o'clock TJ Standard Time and 9 o'clock TJ Standard Time. I like that one. I'm at Tony Cheese up to steal it, but I'll give you credit. So Grumpy, number one, thank you for being a part of the podcast. And thank you everybody for tuning in and participating here in the podcast. Again, we love it. We love being able to talk sports and just in a general way, just to shoot the shit and talk sports, guys. It's honestly, I love this podcast. I do. I love being able to communicate with you guys and talking about sports. It's refreshing. It's something I love and I'll always enjoy doing. So I want to thank everybody for showing up, tuning in, and then making comments, and then kind of talking a little bit about the crazy world of sports that we're in currently. And I want to thank you again, Grumpy Old Man. Thank you for your dedication and devotion for being here.
Thank you. And congratulations to the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series. We didn't even talk about that today.
I know. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuned in. We got a lot to talk about, I'm sure, on Sunday. Before we do the podcast, there's a lot to talk about in the world of sports, Grumpy. But thanks again, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you again, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.